Welcome to AHL Table Talk. I'm your host, Assam Qadura, and today we are discussing the first month of the fifth season of the AHL. With me here are my guests, the general managers of the teams, Hamid Yunus, general manager of the Warriors, Mahmoud Abghosh, general manager of the Stingrays, Mohamed Assaf, general manager of the Spartans, Bilal Abdo, general manager of the Foxhounds, Ahmed Assaf, general manager of the Wolverines, and last but not least, Abdulaziz Abghosh, manager of the Alpha Wolves. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me today. First off, we're going to start about the new, talking about the new GM system. How's it been working so far? Let's start from the right of the table. Ahmed?
I think it's working pretty well right now. So yeah.
Nice. Abdulaziz?
It's been really great so far. It's just we have a few bad GMs like Muassef, but inshallah in the next coming years we'll take care of that.
You see, when you have GMs, it gives you a better glory when you beat teams like his. You know, there's no pressure on your captain. You have the pressure to yourself, and you know how to handle the pressure. Yeah.
See, the GMs is a great thing. It's helped with a lot of the organization, and it's helped to lessen a lot of the fighting in the actual league. But the one thing that's been pissing me off this year is when GMs who have no right to be bashing other GMs are bashing other GMs. I mean, seriously, you're bashing the guy who's ahead of you in the standings? Come on, man.
My only beef with the GM system is my beef with the commissioner, Jalal Hamdan. Puts me in the GM position where I don't no players, I know no stats, no nothing, and I ended up doing bad drafts. But overall, I like the GM system, and I think we should be going with this one, boys. Keep going for the future.
Yeah, it's so far so good. It's tough, and it's tough, yeah.
So what would you guys like to see changed? And I got some input from Brother Mohammed and Bilal. What about Ahmed, Abdulaziz? Mohammed changed. What would you like to see changed?
Maybe a couple of refs for next year, so we could have some fair games, and if someone breaks their elbow, we could know what's happening.
Call 6 different albums, go for the best.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Good.
I think it's good so far. We just have to work on the small things, but it'll be fine for next year, inshallah. It'll be fine for this year.
I think it's good. It's just the thing we should do next year is use both gyms and play more games, hopefully.
All right. So another thing to mention is the upcoming Junior Al-Rashid Hockey League, which allows younger players to prepare for the real deal. So what are your thoughts on this and the directions the AHL is moving towards? We'll start with you, Mr. Abu Ghosh.
It's moving in a pretty good direction. It's just I think next year maybe there should be more teams and more in the league overall. So yeah.
Mr. Abdul?
I think the junior AHL is a good idea for these young prospects to come up through the junior high school. Hopefully we get them into draft picks and get them going for the AHL at an early age. Let's make sure we have people ready to play in the AHL. We have more people playing the junior AHL and have AHL brand name in all Northside and hopefully all of Edmonton.
Yeah, I agree completely. I mean, the junior AHL will be a huge asset, not only for the community as a whole, but also for the GMs who are sitting at this table right now. I mean, we're hoping to keep this system going where we actually do have draft picks being won over from year to year. And we want to make sure we know who we're drafting, and the junior AHL will help us see the players that we're trying to be drafting each year.
Other than drafting players, it also gives young guys a chance to develop, I guess. They don't have to go into AHL where they're not as great as other players, smaller in size too, so they won't get hurt. Yeah, junior AHL is good to just help them build up their game.
I agree with what everyone said. It's good too. So when you get into the league, when you get into the big league, you know everyone who you've been playing with. You know the guy next to you. So if you're on the same team as him, you have that chemistry, you have that connection. So it's good to move forward with.
Yeah, I agree with all of them. Yeah, if someone gets hurt, we could maybe call up someone from the junior AHL too, and they'll develop in the minors or come up and yeah, look up to the AHL players as role models and yeah.
Right. So the biggest question, let's cut to the chase, is What are your predictions for the RYC Cup Championship? Go,
Alpha Wolves
discussion.
all the way. 100% in the final, winning the cup. No other answers for that.
Well, my prediction is that Abdul's team is not going to the final since his all-star player got injured, and
He has a replacement.
I know a replacement.
He's getting Sulaiman Hussein,
So-
who was one of the greatest AHL
oh, we'll
players.
injure him too.
He's never missed the cup.
Hostility. Is that hostility?
It is.
There's still trade
What do you think?
deadlines. I still think, I
Well,
don't know, Foxhounds is still in the run. Everybody's in the playoffs.
Probably not.
Everyone makes it to the playoffs. You have to remember that. So nothing is really set in stone until trade deadline day. If no trades happen, then sure, I think his team is in trouble. But right now, I think the question is more focused on which team is going to win the cup, not which team is not going to win the cup. Thank you very much, Asa. And I'm just gonna let you guys know that Warriors are in first place right now. We have the least goals against and the second most goals for. So
And you have the
statistically,
most names stolen.
statistically speaking, the Warriors are on pace to win the cup. Just saying. But the Alpha Wolves are a very close second. We're actually tied in points, so it's gonna be a fun series.
I agree with Mohammed Yunus, man. It's going to be a tight series between his team and Abdulaziz Abu Ghosh's team. I think it will actually come down to who has a better goalie. I honestly think that's what it's going to come down to. So, I don't know.
What's your
it's gonna
prediction,
be-
Bilal?
I don't know. I don't want my predictions start hardcore beef between all the GMs.
Well, I think Mahmoud's team is going to be a good underdog with Ali Farhat, and they have a decent goalie.
No.
Hamid has a pretty good, solid D team. They could be the dark horses this year.
Of course. Mahmoud, what do you say to
I
that?
say maybe my team or his team, because you know we're underdogs, so maybe we'll make a comeback. That's if we make trades, but who knows?
Keep in mind, Mahmoud has the commissioner, so he could sway things his way if he really wanted to.
Right, we have some heavy talk, some mudslinging going on.
It's just Mohammed Hassan. There's only, the,
He's not. I'm the Brian Brooks
there's
of
only
the
the D word on this panel.
You're the Michael Overy of the
Everybody
I'm
here
the
likes
Brian
each
Brooks.
other except for Mohammed Hassan.
Okay, that's fair. Yes, I did notice that. Right, so let's discuss goalies. You mentioned goalies. Let's discuss goalies. And who do you think is going to have the biggest effect on their respective teams? Who do you think is going to, the actual question is, who do you think is going to play the biggest role on their respective teams this season?
As a goalie or as a player in general?
Let's discuss the goalies and the players.
Okay.
I mean, and the rest.
Okay,
Like,
separate.
say something about your goaltenders and go with who else do you think, unless your goalie is going to play the biggest role,
Well-
go ahead with the goalie, but if he's not, then discuss who it is.
You know, I'm going to be straight up honest right here. I think the best goalie in the league, without a doubt, is Ali Isa.
Really?
Although statistically, there are other goalies. Like, for example, Ghanem has 5 shutouts in, I think, 8 games played, which is phenomenal. And his goals against average is less than a goal per game right now. I think it's 0.88 goals per game. But Ghanem Abdel Fattah, he's the goalie of the Warriors. He's actually my goalie right now. But I think a big part of that has to do with the defense. He doesn't get as much shots as Ali Isa does, and Ali Isa has been playing very well for his team. So I think when it comes to goalies, there's no better goalie than Ali Isa in this league right now.
I agree with Mohammed Yunus. I think Ali Isa is probably the best goalie in the league. But I think also that it also goes down to the defense, right? The better the defense, the better the goalie looks. So that's why I think, I totally agree with Yunus. Ali Isa is probably the best goalie in the league.
Why you putting-
What are your thoughts?
Okay. Yeah, Ali Isa's been a good goalie this year, but come playoff time, Ahmed Tarabain will be the clutch goalie of the AHL. Every playoffs he comes clutch. He won a cup, I think, or 2.
He came in last place last year.
But didn't he win a cup already?
He came in last place last year.
Well, you're
That's all I
fine.
remember.
But anyways, whatever, man. He comes clutch playoff time, and he's a beauty.
He is a
Mohammed
beauty.
Hassan's trying to get back his glory years, man. Just chill out, you're not the goalie no more, man.
Trying to be done chill.
Nobody can take my glory.
Oh, man.
Okay, let's spare us all a headache.
They-
Abdulaziz,
They weren't that glorious, but
They were pretty glorious. I remember I swept you in the playoffs.
They were pretty horrible. His 5 holes.
I remember I
his
swept you in the
minus,
playoffs.
It's crazy. I agree with what everyone said. I picked Ali Isa. I stand by my choice. He's an awesome goalie and an awesome guy to have on your team. But there's lots of good goalies this year. All the young guys, they can challenge too. But I think Ali takes the Vesna.
I just want to add something to Abdulaziz here. I agree. There's a lot of new goalies this year. There's not one goalie that, well, probably other than Ali. Was that Ali? He never played goalie.
He never played
before.
goalie. It was
Yeah.
Ahmed Tarabain.
I think Ahmed Tarabain is the only veteran goalie this year. I know there's a lot of
Hamza
young.
Musa.
And Hamza Musa, yeah. So everybody else is just, what's it called, rookie goalies. And I think all of them are doing a good job, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's a good point there.
Yeah, I agree. I think Ali Isa is the best goalie, but thumbs up to all the rest of the goalies for stepping up and actually being team players for going in net. Like,
Right, so there's some very nice input from all sides here. And speaking as a former goalie, I know the value of defense very much. Some of you said defense. I remember the first year our team was completely wrecked. I was completely wrecked by crap trades and crap defense. So.
One question
Not
for,
saying anything yet,
for the
but-
GMs here. We have two good goalies here. Who do you guys think was better? Hands up for Isam.
Wow.
Hands up for Mo.
Right, thank you. So, speaking, coming off of that point, who are the biggest underrated players in the league this year? Players that didn't really contribute statistically, but still had an effect. Camera guy. But still had an effect on a really strong presence on their teams. Nevertheless, didn't contribute statistically, didn't score many goals, didn't do many assists, but were maybe solid defense. Came clutch every once in a while. So
One quick
Who are
question.
they?
During this season,
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
yeah.
Sultan of the season, bro. Yeah, I'd have to say
36,
Mudassir Javid on
Okay.
the Wolverines. And the one thing I really like about the Wolverines is that they're a very balanced team. They don't have any one player really carrying the whole team. Yeah, they have one really big point producer. Osama Javid is actually second in the league for points. But really, other than that, the rest of the team is really balanced. Oh, sorry, Osama is on. He's on your team.
to my team.
Mudassir, though, on the Wolverines has been a very key player, even though he's been pretty low-key on the stats sheet. And I think he's a very valuable player for any team to have.
I think to be honest, to talk about my team, the two guys that came out are what's it called, underrated, I'll say is Adil and Kareem Al-Safadi. You know, Kareem Al-Safadi is young. He's the youngest player in AHL history, I think. And he still has a lot of defensive moves. He blocks a lot of shots. And he tries. He's out there giving his 100%. Even Adil, like, he started off slow, but I think he's going to be very good come playoff time, to be honest. He's going to be up with Sulaiman Hussein. I think those two are probably the underrated players on my team for sure.
yeah, I'm gonna go with someone off Yunus's team, Ahmed Shamsuddin. He plays wherever wherever Yunus tells him, wherever his captain tells him, and he'll do solid everywhere. Defense, forward, and I think that's why Ghanem has a couple of shoutouts is because of Ahmed and Bilal back there.
Underrated guys for me are guys I gave to Yunus. Ali Deeb and Ubada are really, really great guys. I know Ubada has a bunch of points right now, but he's underrated. And Ali Deeb is really good. He can play all positions, just like Ahmed Shamsuddin. So Yunus has a bunch of underrated guys.
I think for my team, the best underrated player or a player who can make a difference even though he's underrated would probably be Mohamed Farhat. He's a good defenseman, solid shutdown guy, has size, hacks and whacks, and blocks a lot of shots. He's a good coachable player.
And that's how you play hockey. Good old Canadian boy.
He's a good old Canadian boy, and that's what you need on your team.
I can speak from personal experience about Ali Deeb. One game in the playoffs, he did go in net, and no matter what the heck happened, our team could not score on him. Was the worst day of my life. Yes. So, yeah. Big question here. Which team won the blockbuster 8-man Alpha Wolves Warriors trade that has shifted the entire landscape of the league? I'm not even sure what that question means. Go. Ahmed.
Okay, just to clarify before Ahmed goes, the trade was that I would trade Osama Javid, who's currently second in the league in points, along with Ali Dawood, Tariq Balbaki, and Ziad Hajar. And in return, I'd be getting Mohamed Karout, Ubada Dahsha, Ali Deeb, and Bilal Tarabain. So that was the 8-man deal, and it's been about 2 weeks right now, and it has changed the way the standings looks and the landscape of the league. So just to clarify, go ahead, Ahmed.
Yeah, I think Yunus won that trade, to be honest, because he made his team more solid all around, and yeah, he had to give away a big player, Usama, but he got all solid players. Those are the players that will win you a cup in the playoffs.
It was a tough trade to make, but I disagree with Ahmed. I think I won the trade because I made the trade. And I don't think you need that much steps to win a cup in the AHL. It's 4-on-4 hockey. It's 10 minutes long. It's an awesome league. I love the league. I still do. But I think the more number one guys you have on the team, the better you'll be.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Abdulaziz. Yunus had Osama Javed and Bilal Shamsuddin, who last year went to the final, and they had really good chemistry. And you don't split up good chemistry. And he is second in points, and I think Aziz won that trade pretty well. Hamid Karou, when he comes playoff time, he either comes clutch or he has a slump, so that's not a good chance.
Hamid?
Well, honestly, it's really tough to pick a winner in this deal because me and both the Warriors and the Alpha Wolves are tied for first place. And the only reason why we are in first place right now is because we have more regulation wins, but we have the same number of points. You look at it, even the games we played against each other after the trade are even. It's 1-1. I mean, the first game, we lost 1-0 to the Alpha Wolves. They shut us out. Second game we played, we won 3-1. So they're very close games. It's 1 loss, 1 win for each team. So I think it is a little bit early to tell, but I do like how my team is more balanced. So I do like that. I think that I did win the trade.
The thing is, right now, it's pretty hard to say, because again, as Yunus pointed out, they're both tied for first. I think it just go down to playoff time, see who won the trade. Right now, you can't even say anything, right?
Well, the trade was kind of pretty big, so it's tough to say who won. But I'd say it was probably Yunus because he has more players who have confidence.
One note to that. I think it's going to be discussed till even after the AHL about who won that trade. Ultimately, it comes down to whoever is best in the playoffs. That's how all NHL trades come down to. That's what this one will come down to. So it'll be a good competition going forward.
Last question before we wrap up our first ever AHL Table Talk. If you guys could predict the final RYC Cup bracket, what two teams would you go for? What two teams would you predict will make the finals? Only want two teams, no reason why, no, just tell me your two teams. Mahmoud.
I say my team and the Alpha Wolves.
Bilal.
I'm going to say Alpha Wolves and Warriors.
I'm going to agree with Alpha Wolves and Warriors.
I'm gonna say the Warriors and the Spartans.
Abdulaziz.
Alpha Wolves, Warriors.
Ahmed.
Pretty.
Wolverines and Stingrays.
All right. I would like to thank you all for joining me today. This was a fantastic conversation we had, and we will be back next month discussing the trade deadline and standing before the playoffs. So tune in next time. Thank you.